Welcome back to more coverage of the Grand Star Cup. I am your host, Rerim, and coming up for Week 3, guys, we have some close matches, we have some crazy upsets, and a couple of ultimate losers. Thank you guys for tuning in to coverage of Division 1 for GSC.
That is solid.
This could be huge. Oh my god, that's a huge play. Oh, here we go. Here we go.
And welcome back, guys. Week 3 is in the books, and here are the standings again from the end of Week 2. We got some stragglers. We got our 2 front runners. Well, I guess XI isn't really in the front right now. They only have 2 games under their belt, but they still are undefeated with Heaven. Then we got the rest of the teams in the mid-pack. Kind of like a normal Mario Kart race. We're just going to keep it short and sweet and jump into the first match, which is XI versus KG. Now, this is a big match for KG because they need some wins. If they can finish 7-3 or 6-4, they can still make playoffs. It's not copium. They can still do it. And if they were to beat XI specifically, that's a huge momentum shift. You beat the best team, that's going to give you confidence, right? And then you play 2S, maybe you're able to beat them. Then you play Daisy, and then you're 3-3. 3-3 beating one of the best teams. You go back to your conference, you play SL and IF. Like, they can definitely get wins here if they just start winning out. So that's why this match is important. We're going to jump into it, Fox POV, of course. And we start out on BC3. KG is the host. Fox pulls a TC at first set, and KG gets some nice trails off. So they're going to break away in top 2 a little bit here. And Fox just decides, yeah, I don't want any part of this. He just jumps off with the TC. Very interesting strategy, but he ends up pulling a golden. Havo fails cut. Xander takes with the ground shroom, and Jaker was up there, who ended up going around, is in second. He's their only top spot for KG as Fox Golden's up here and avoids the niche little green off the wall. XI ends up keeping top 2. Barney attempts to take cut in first, but a KG shock TS's him and prevents Fox from doing ultra, which it looked like he was aligning to do. Pow comes out and make cut a little bit more difficult. I don't know whose Pow it was, but Barney ends up just making shroomless after getting TS, so he's back in first, and XI just ends up running in top 2. XI gets their DK Mountain track pick. Barney, Fox keep top 2 for the first lap until Jaker manages to force his way into the shortcut ahead of Fox, and he gets a nice little lag bump, lag trail out on him. And Fox is forced in the back. He pulls a golden. Faisal disappears on his screen. Luckily, doesn't reappear to flatten him. Fox Golden's up as Barney is hit. So XI gets back into top 2, and they end up keeping their top spots once again. And Faisal and Barney were also able to make their way up there, so it's a really good race for XI. And they get their BC Weed track pick. They end up keeping top 2, have a little bit of a break going into lap 2 here. No glitch makers until Fox gets blue. Jaker was in third, so he's able to take over in second. And then another blue shell comes out for KG as Ornan makes glitch. So all of a sudden, KG ends up being the team in top 2 after XI had a pretty successful lap 1. And Fox pulls a TC, so now he's screwed. He has to pass this to Jaker, or else they're just going to get top 2 easily. But Jaker ended up falling behind Fox, so he's able to stop with the TC, prevent Jaker from really running away from him, and only Ornan was able to break away. Now XI is 2-3-4, a very good mega pull. And he doesn't spam it to resize. He actually slows down to hit Mike, and then tries to stop troll the rest of KG as Faisal shroomed ahead. Havo's in a bill, Mike's in a star. You know Shock's about to come, and they do TS Xander, who was in second, so they have a lot of dodgers for KG, and XI is TS'd. Xander and Fox are bottom 2 going into this last turn, but a back pump comes out on Jaker and Mike. So KG ends up getting bottom 2, and they're only able to get 1-3 out of it. When they get their track pick, and Fox doing Fox things, takes very clean lines, gets a mushroom, is able to take cut and get into first. As long as he can make this double here, which of course he does very fast, he's going to be able to run, and XI ends up actually just running in top 3 for the majority of that race. So it's a very good race and GP for XI, and win it by about 50 points. GP2 starts with KC. Fox takes Shroomba and is able to get into first, and Barney takes the golden cut, so he's also up here. But Mike, out of nowhere, passes the TC and gets the red shell hit off, so Fox is once again forced into the back for majority of the race until lap 3. A shot comes out for XI. It looks like they dodged Faisal in a mega. trying to break up the top spots as a lot of XI is back here. And Fox stays in the back for most of the race. Xander ended up shrooming up at the end. Faisal had gotten hit, maybe a blue, maybe a red shell in the pipe. So XI still wins that after a kind of a hectic lap 3. And XI gets their Wario's Goldmine track pick, so Fox is going to ride the zipper, get the box in 9th. He doesn't pull Bill, he only pulls a golden. That's still pretty good because he's going to very easily be able to golden up to the... okay. Well, he gets bumped off and he ends up pulling another golden lap 2. So this time he is going to be able to golden up, but he only gets to 5th place. Pow block comes out for KG. It looks like they're trying to target Pow Faisal. But he is in 1st while Fox pulls the blue, so he's going to have to hold this. And they're just going to have to salvage the 1-4 as best as they can until a shock comes out for what appears to be XI as the daisy spins out on the mini-map. However, as you can see, Ornan does make his way up here. It looks like only Xander dodged for XI, and then Fox gets screwed by this TC interaction. He gets bumped off the track. Faisal got hit out or something because KG finishes that race top 2-5-7. So what appeared to be a shock from XI while they're holding blue ended up being a pretty bad race for them. And KG keeps up the momentum. They get their Moonview Highway track pick. Fox started in 8th and he pulled Bill some point on lap 1. He barely squeaks by Ornan here. That would have been really bad if he lost the Bill there because they are going to use a shock here on lap 2. And it looks like Faisal dodges in a mega in 4th or 5th place there. So KG was a lot of the top spots in this lap, but Faisal dodging and Fox dodging. Now they're 1-3-4, taking over a lot of the frontal presence. And we have a really weird interaction here as Barney and Faisal tried to split that ground star, but it appears that Faisal did not get it, so Barney ended up starring him. Target Pow comes out on, it could have been either team really, but Barney made his way into 1st, Fox was in 4th there, and they just kind of keep those spots till the end of the race. And XI does get the RBC track pick, so they're going to attempt to get this draft in 1-4, but it looks like either 2nd or 3rd for KG. Jaker there was able to swerve into that line and interrupt it. Fox gets a bomb at first set. He sees 2 KG members directly behind him, so that is a very easy back bomb. And Jaker gets wheelie bumped out. Mike had made his way up into 1st, so it's really only Mike up there. XI is 2-3-4, looking to take out Mike and take over the top spots. Fox hits the back Nana, but he also backs Jaker, so they're still 2-3-4, and there it is. Gets the early blue shell. Havo's going to shroom up, but this blue is going to do a lot of damage, and Havo ends up getting back bombed. So now it's looking like even more of a great position for XI. Blue shell hits Mike, and they're going to take over in top 3 as Fox pulls Pow, which is also a pretty good item to have, even if you can't use it offensively. Just knowing that they can't get target powed is a nice bonus, but he ends up just using it for some reason. I honestly don't know why. He probably should have held that. Ornan shrooms up, so even with that blue shell in top 3, KG was still right in the pack next to them, and Ornan does get into 1st. They're still 2-3, so positions are okay until an XI shot comes out. Havo, Bill dodging, and now KG is taken over into top 2. And they stay in top 2 until lap 3. That was kind of a quick edit. It was on the same spot, but Fox and Barney stay 3-4 for the lap until Red Shell comes out, hits Barney. Fox has a useless blooper, and he ends up getting back green on the bridge. So now KG is top 3. XI is all back there, and they end up finishing top 2-5-6. So good race for KG. And KG wins that GP. They bring the deficit much closer, below 30, as they win that GP by 24 points. So they're within striking distance going into GP3. Turbotland comes out for the first race of GP3, and Fox gets the draft from 4th, so he's able to get into 1st. Hold it for just a second, you know someone's about to shroom up, and this time it's Mike. He looks like he pulled triple shrooms as he trails immediately here after chaining at first set. But Barney now comes up in a golden, so XI is 1-3. Fox has survived everything until he gets front-redded here at the cave set, and he gets sent back to 8th. He pulls a star, and XI uses a very early shock at lap 2 as Jazz is in 10th with a little bit of a break. Fox dodges in a star, Xander also dodged in a star, and Fox chains to a golden, so now XI is very comfortably able to get up into top 4 going into lap 3 until their worst nightmare, a KG shock, could have been a 9th there. But regardless, Jaker ends up dodging the star himself. And all of KG is on the come up with good items. Fox is going to try to do his best to hit out Havo here as he pulls triple greens, and he gets the draft off. Backs the greens not exactly in the right line, but Mike is taken out, so now XI is 2-3-4 going into the last couple turns. Ornan is in a star. Looks like he's also shrooming up. Xander also shrooming up. And at the end of it, KG gets 1-4. 7 or 6-7, so it's a pretty even race after all of that. And KG gets their track pick with Coconut Mall. Fox gets a single red, can't really do a whole lot with that, so he just decides to go underground. And Faisal gets the lucky golden pole, so he's able to get to first very early on. Xander unfortunately gets TC'd, and Fox is in 4th place going down the stairwell. Ends up trailing Mike here at a very awkward angle. Havo has triple nanas in front of him, but he just hits the obvious tight nana. And if you pay attention to Jake, he also spins out on a tight nana. So XI gets into top 2 until Fox kind of hits the wall there. It's like a tiny little bump, but Jaker does manage to get ahead of him. So XI is only 1-3. And they keep 1-3 until Ornan takes cut lap 3 and a blue shell comes out. So things could be very bad here if Faisal gets comboed. But he barely manages to squeak away. Ornan doesn't throw his greens. Faisal and Fox both go top path. Now something pretty interesting happens here because Ornan, who was in 3rd, kind of just disappears and Barney takes his spot in a mega. I honestly have no idea what happened. I'm assuming Barney must have megaed him because XI ends up getting 2, 3, 4, 5 after that. So KG needs to really step things into gear. They do get their DDR track pick, and Jaker, who got first on Mall, does keep first for this entire race. As you can see, front runs. But Faisal and Fox are in 2-3 behind him, so KG's going to need to have something big happen, and they do pull the shock. They dodge Havo, and they kind of TS Faisal on the sand hop. But what's really nice for them is that Fox pulls a TC, so he's going to get killed by this TC here, except he's able to pass it to Jazz, clutching that up. So KG's only going to be able to keep top 2 here by the end of this race. And going into the final race, XI is still up in the mid to high 20s, so KG's going to need a miracle top 4 or top 3-5 or something in order to win the whole thing. And XI does get their Gardens track pick to reset the spots. Ornan ended up pulling Shrooms, so he gets into first, but XI does correctly do the split star this time, so Faisal and Fox are both able to take the star cut in 2-3. And KG does end up using shock lap 3, so they're going to need all their dodgers to get up into the front. Like I said, they need a huge race here. Pow comes out, doesn't really affect anything. A bomb is thrown up, but it doesn't connect. Ornan is still holding it down in first. Going into these last turns, he's going to need to do something and back spam all the XI members. Red gets thrown up, it's not going to connect. Let's see if he can do anything. Mike is right behind him, and then Ornan just ends up getting redded anyways, so yeah, they needed something huge to happen there on those last turns in order to turn it around, but XI wins 10-2, giving KG their 4th loss, XI their 3rd win. It's hard to say exactly what KG could have done better to win this war. The only thing I really noticed was they would have races where they would get up into 1-3 or top 2 or something, but by the end of the race, they would only finish in those top 2 or 1-3 spots, and then the other guys would get 6-7 or 6-8 or something, so the race ended up not being that much of a point swing. And on the other hand, XI did have multiple top 3s early on, which allowed them to stay in the lead for the rest of the war. But yeah, like I mentioned at the beginning of the war, this was kind of a big match for KG to see if they could bring back their season, but now that they're 0-4, things are going to be a lot more difficult because they can't really afford another loss. Going 5-5, I don't think that's going to be enough to make the playoffs, so kind of in a dire situation, still not technically out of it, but that was a tough loss, especially because they did keep it pretty close. They were able to win it at any point GP3 if they just popped off and had a big race or two, but you know, XI is that team. They are the best, so it's going to be really hard to get those big races, and unfortunately for KG, they were not able to make it happen. We're going to frame chain XI Wars into XI versus Daisy. Now, Daisy at this point is 0-5, so unless they're able to, I'd say 12-0 the last 5 matches of their season, they're probably not going to make playoffs. Theoretically, like I said, if they 12-0'd, I think you probably could, but that's just very unreasonable. But we're going to watch this war anyway, Fox's POV, to see if Daisy can at least make an upset, because that would be a pretty fun war to see if Daisy was able to come back and beat one of the best teams out. And we start out on DDR, Fox is in 4th, but he goes tight and does get the tight box, and Xander seems to just muscle his way into 1st as Luke didn't make it to the sand top. But Emil shrooms up and he does wheelie bump Xander, so Emil does take over into 1st, tries to get a quick back fib off, but it doesn't connect. Green Snipe comes out, but it doesn't connect either. So Fox is just going to be running in 2nd here for a while until Sammy does make the triple shroom ultra very cleanly, so Daisy takes over into top 2 going into middle of lap 2 here. But the blue shell comes out pretty quickly. Daisy, Emil gets hit out. Banana Snipe goes up, doesn't connect once again. So Fox is just kind of running in 2nd. He tries to force his way into 1st there. I think if he did the little TF shroomless cut, like the world record strat, he might have actually been able to muscle his way up there. But a Daisy shot comes out after Swig takes Golden Ultra, and it dodges Emil, so now Daisy's top 2, and a Bomb Snipe comes out, hits Faisal and Fox, so they are left floundering. Fox pulls shrooms, he goes for the little cave exit strategy. Emil ends up getting blued. Swig takes cuts, and Swig does end up winning the race, but XI gets 2, 3, 4, 5 out of it when it looked like Daisy was about to run away with top 2 pretty easily. MC3 comes out from Daisy as they are 1st, and Xander throws up a quick red shell. Swig did not trail his item in time, so he gets hit and drops the banana onto Fox. Fox throws his red up at Sammy. Luke looks like he hits a banana or something, and Barney, I'm assuming, was the one with that TC, gets TC'd. So XI ends up becoming 1-3 going into the end of the lap here, but Fox gets dragged into the dirt. Very chaotic first lap, as MC3 usually is. Lap 2, Fox pulls shrooms. He gets past this TC, but it lags back. And it looks like another Daisy shock comes out as Emil is dodging up in a star, and he's able to take cut. Swig did manage to make his way into 1st, so once again, Daisy is top 2. Barney dodges and Bill. It's actually hard to say whose shock it was. It could have been XI's because Barney did dodge, but Barney gets hit out pretty early on. It looks like Xander takes a shroom cut, so he's trying to infiltrate his way up there. Fox also was, but he gets random greened and starred, so Swig and Luke end up finishing top 2. So it's top 2, 4, 6 for Daisy, so good race. XI gets their Gardens pick. Fox stops at 1st set. He pulls Bill, and he holds Bill the entire race. XI, of course, gets shock, and they end up shocking a lot of Daisy after set. Barney and Xander had pulled shrooms in the previous lap, so they were able to get into top 2, and it's an easy top 3 finish for XI. And of course, XI is gonna pick DK Mountain here. Fox pulls a shroom, so he can't really do any type of back spam or anything, but Daisy Emil ends up shrooming up, passes both Fox and Barney. Barney a little bit scary here with his green shell, ends up throwing it away. XI is 2, 3, 4, but a blue shell comes out early, lap 2, so they take over back into their top spots. Fox gonna backspam some of these nanas. He ends up throwing it away and slowing down on the cannon. As you can see, a lot of Daisy are stopping because they have shock, so they're not sure if they want to cannon shock here, and they do end up cannon shocking because they dodged their bottom 3. Barney, however, is pretty gone in 1st, but that at least allows them to catch up a little bit. Fox ends up pulling a golden, and he goldens up at the end of lap 2, but he's still stuck kind of in the back. A lot of XI are in the back here. He pulls shrooms, but Emil has a mega right in front of Fox, and this downward section is pretty awkward to shroom on, so he doesn't shroom. He ends up getting back spammed, and really a lot of XIs in the back. They are bottom 3. Swig is also pretty close, but somebody had fallen off the bridge or gotten bumped off, and it ends up being a top 4 for Daisy to end off the GP. And they do win the GP off of that race. They win it by 12, so they get the GSC points. GP2 starts off with Maple Treeway. Fox pulls reds at first set, and he gets a box fourth at second set, and it's triple shroom, so he's able to comfortably shroom up into first place until lap 2. XI has shock here, and they were debating going for a cannon shock. It looked like to dodge Faisal, Fox, and Barney in the mid spots, but they end up holding it till lap 3 instead. They dodge Xander and Faisal in bottom 2, but Luke had dodged in a star, tried to get him out of cannon, but he wasn't a star. And really, XI doesn't capitalize much off of the shock because Faisal is still kind of in the back. Emil is still first, and Luke had dodged. So yeah, Daisy does get top 2. It is only a top 2, bottom 2, but that shock should have done a lot more for XI than what it did. EC3 comes out. Emil is in first. Doesn't look like he goes for ultra. He opts to block the shortcut. Faisal quickly unblocks, and Fox does sneak his way onto the cut. Swig also takes shroom cut right behind him, so it's very tight 1v1 here. Fox is trying to trail Swig, but it looks like Swig does end up getting a draft off or shrooming, and then Fox just kind of hits the wall. He ends up griefing Sammy a little bit too, but Daisy ends up getting into top 2 going into lap 2 here, and Daisy blocks the shortcut and calls shock. They take a bunch of measures in order to prevent XI from unblocking or taking the shortcut, but Fox does get a draft off, so he gets up into second. It's really only him up here. Sammy is still up in the front. Swig is still in first. And Fox stays in second place until cut lap 3, where he clips the platform and then he hits the fireball, so he loses a lot of time here. Dodges the POW in midair, but an XI shock comes out. Dodges Faisal, and somebody, either Barney had unblocked cut or Faisal takes cut in a star. But Faisal is able to get up there and contest Swig. Xander is able to take either cut or ultra right after, so now XI is in a lot of the top spots following that shock. Sammy shrooms up. Fox pulls a bomb. He throws it up, but it's not going to connect. Barney's also up here, but Sammy looks like he gets taken out and thrown into the grate, into the lava. And Luke is also redded right before the line. So that's a bottom 3 from Daisy. And Faisal did make his way into first. Rumble Volcano is picked next, and Fox gets a red off onto Sammy. He lets Barney pass to try to trail Swig, and he does end up getting a nice little back red off. Appears Barney has a shroom, and Fox also had a shroom until he accidentally spammed it, but he got bomb sniped anyways. He's forced into the back for lap 1, but he pulls shroom lap 2 and just takes rock. Barney is gone in first after taking rock lap 1. And it's a very easy top 2 from Fox and Barney here on Grumble. Daisy gets their sherbet pick to prevent the snowball effect of getting a running track, and Luke pulls a mega while Emil pulls shroom, so they are able to break up the top spots pretty easily. Barney accidentally back spams Fox with the Nana. Not too big of a deal though. Fox stays in 5th, and Xander had ended up shrooming up at some point lap 2. So XI does get into a lot of the top spots lap 3 until Blue Shell comes out, hits Xander. They're still 1-3 into this cave section here. Luke is going to need to make some kind of play, either back spam Fox or hit out Barney, and he does actually just end up redding Barney, but immediately another blue shell is thrown. I honestly don't remember if it was XI's or if it was accidentally Daisy's, but either way, XI does get in the top 3 off of that second Miracle Blue, and XI ends up winning that GP by 48. So Daisy is down about 36 going into GP3. They're down, but certainly not out. That type of deficit with 4 races means you just need to win each race by a little bit. But Fox is able to draft up into first on the Moonview Highway pick, and he avoids the snipe, keeps first. Barney is able to shroom up into first afterwards. So now XI is actually top 3. Xander's also up here until Sammy builds up, and Fox is staring down this bill, but he somehow doesn't avoid it. I guess he just didn't know where the bill was going to go. Either way, Barney did keep first, so Fox pulled blue and is just holding it for a little bit as Daisy is all behind him in 2, 3, 4, but one of them ends up hitting a car, so it's going to be a 1-4 finish, except shot comes out. Faisal dodges, Fox gets greened, he pulls a mega, good mega pull there, he's able to spam it. And it was an XI shock as Faisal did dodge. Faisal gets up into second place, so it is a top 2 from XI, and unless Daisy makes pretty big race here on race 10, it's gonna be a GG's. But they do get their RMC track pick. They do like to pick this track a lot. Fox pulls shrooms later into lap 1. He didn't take cut, but Barney and Xander do keep top spots. I think Barney just went around in first and Xander ended up taking cut somewhere in the mid pack. Fox looking to keep these shrooms. Gets bumped a little bit, doesn't burn it to take that first cut on the left. He just holds his shrooms to take the big cut in the middle. And shot comes out for Daisy, dodging Luke and Emil. So now they're on the come up. Pack is very tight here. Fox drops to 8th, is able to take a shroom cut like normal. But he gets redded right after. Sammy and Swig are in the back, but Emil is gone in first. And it is a top 2, but a bottom 2 for Daisy. So they're still not out of it yet, but they need a big race. But they get their track pick in Wario's Gold Mine. Fox ended up waiting to get one of these zipper boxes from 6th. He pulls a star. Swig and Luke both get bombed, and it looks like Fox was trying to star combo in there. Daisy is 2-3 going into the ramp. In lap 1, Barney was able to hold down the fort in first place, so Daisy's going to need to take him out, and he just drives off the track or something because Sammy takes over, and yeah, Barney's name fell off on the left side. But it doesn't matter because he's back. He dodges in Bill after whatever happened lap 1, so XI is able to just get a good race here, and that's going to be GG's. Not a lot to say here. I mean, it's about what you expected, but Daisy did start off this war pretty strong. They were up 12 going into GP2, and they were only down, like I said, about 36 going into GP3, so they definitely could have won, but even if they did, at this point in the season, that really wouldn't have affected the standings that much. Daisy probably still wasn't making playoffs. XI probably still is. So that match was a fun one to watch because it was a lot closer this time. Daisy was putting up a pretty good fight there. And it would have been cool to see the upset, but unfortunately it just didn't happen. Regardless, we'll move on to the next match, which is SE versus KG. Now, unfortunately, there's no POV of this match. We'll just have to take a look at the table. And just based off the record right now, KG probably out of it at this point. SE not at the top, but definitely still in it, so this would be a huge win for them. And they do get the dub. Again, very, very close match for SE. Every match from them has been super close. GP1, they win by single digits. GP2, they lose it by single digits. GP3, they win by single digits. Not much else to say. At this point, KG is probably definitely out. And SE is just really starting to get into their stride. This is only their 3rd match, so they've got a winning record, but they got a long way to go. And we're just going to go ahead and put KG out of their misery because they end up playing 2S, and they got 12-0 bodied. Put up in a snack wrap body bag. And at this point, KG's definitely out of it. And 2S is most likely going to be in the playoffs. They have a very good record. They're getting a lot of GSC points in their wins and salvaging some GSC points in their losses. Unfortunately, no POV of this match, but it's just kind of more of the same. Both these teams going in the direction that we've seen in the past. We move on to SE versus IF. Now, this is a very interesting matchup because, as I've been saying, these are two teams that still have a good shot at making playoffs. So whoever wins here is going to gain a nice little advantage. These teams only play once, and there's not really a clear favorite for the matchup. Just looking at the previous 2 seasons, at least, they went 1-1 in both seasons. So pretty even matchup here, but a very important one. And we start race 1 in typical fashion on Maple Treeway. IF is hosting, so they're going to be able to keep their top spots, and Snow is able to shroom up fairly easily. Goes for a box, going to try to get some protection, maybe hit people on the bridge, as it's very, very easy to hit people. Trying to double back there with the green on the left side, but it doesn't hit. I'm surprised that Snow didn't back his red along with it, because Cormac uses a star, so he could have just invincibility through all of that BS. Sean shrooms up, so he gets into second, and IF stays 1-3 for the majority of that race till Snow hits this banana. He's sent to the back a little bit and misses the item box and is powed, so he loses a lot of time. The spots did swap a little bit for who was in second, but by the end of the race, IF just does get top 3. I really don't know how, because they didn't even use shock, but they just managed to get up there, and they ran the whole time at first. Now on Peach Gardens reset track, Snow does pull Trip Shrooms, no stop, very nice pull. He even gets the draft off, but unfortunately isn't able to pass Revan. but he still has shrooms for the next lap until lap 3 where Cormac takes Mega in front of him. Shadow's also up here, so IF's 2, 3, 4, and they do get the blue shell pole, so it's going to be another huge race for IF as Revan's forced over there into the corner. Can't really do anything. They do get top 3, 8 again, so it's the same exact race. Very nice blue pole because you can spam all your mid spot boxes in that chain chomp section, and even if you pull a TC, you can realistically you could pass it because there's going to be a lot of people next to you, and you can spam even more items, maybe get shrooms or mega or whatever. Now on GV, Sean does get up there with his Thundercloud, and he does pass it off. So Sean takes over in first. Snow is going to back spam green on the cut, try to mess up Revise, but it doesn't really work. It was a little bit to the left. I think if you put it more in the middle, it could have hit actually, but he gets fibbed out himself, so he's able to take Rock lap 2 with Golden. And he pulls a blue shell, but his team is in first, so he's going to hold that for a little while till cut lap 3 where Shock comes out for IF. They are a lot of the bottom spots, they are only in third, and he does pull mushrooms here at the very end and is able to red somebody. So it's going to be a really tight finish in the respawn, and Shadow does get back greened on the landing, but it's a top 2, 5, 6 still for IF, so they are really taking over this first GP. They have a solid lead. It's pretty much impossible for SE to win this GP. But IF gets their summit pick and doesn't keep their top 2 as Revan and Snow both just shroom up, and Revan just going to lag up ahead. And Edison takes double, so he gets into first. Revan just takes single, trying to mess up Cormac and Snow on double, but he doesn't succeed, so pretty mixed spots. IF gets back into 2, 3, and no cannon shock lap 3. Edison's still in first, Sean shrooms up, so looking like it could be a decent race for SE, barring no blue or POW here. Cormac does get forced out, so yeah, SE takes over top 2, back green on cut, messes up Barry, so they're going to run away with the top 2, and it's a top 2, 4, 6. Like I said, they could not win the GP, so it goes to IF, but SE does mitigate the damage a little bit. IF gets their DDR track pick to start off GP2. Snow pulls the best item possible, which is a golden no stop. As long as you can keep this for the ultra without getting hit or just burn it early, you're pretty much guaranteed to get into first, as he does shroom early to get into first, but unfortunately just blunders on the wall glitch, so he's passed up by Revan, who looked like he did the cactus cut in second, was able to shroom up in front of Shadow. Revan and Shadow both failing Sandtop lap 2. Sean just kept his top spot, and Edison was able to take Golden Ultra. So SE is top 2, and it looks like they use a shock to dodge Revan and Mega there. And the shock gets all of IF after first set, and it's only Revan dodging. That must have been pretty easy call to use Mega to see if any of IF goes into stars, and none of them did. You can just call them after set. But he does get redded. Snow pulled a red to hit him after the pillar trick, and unfortunately Snow does mess up the wall glitch again, so it's going to be top 2 comfortably for SE. IF needed to pull a blue shell or something in order to interrupt that, but they're at least able to get 3-4 at the end here. Could have been a huge race, could have been a huge top 3 for SE if Revan did not get redded. SE does end up getting 8th instead of what could have been 3rd place. But IF gets their BC3 track pick to reset the spots. Snow hits a quick green snipe onto Edison. Revise gets a Mega, looking to just hit Cormac or Snow, but he misses. Snow pulls bomb. Fib was kind of hidden by that Thwomp, actually. It's pretty hard to see. But Snow's going to be able to get the Aether here, and it is a golden. Cut is unblocked, so he's going to be able to take it pretty easily. Shadow fails. Revise was only able to shroom once, so IF is going to be top 2. Barry took cut before everyone else until Nana Snipe comes out, and it forces Snow wide, and Sean goes into the bananas wide. Honestly, pretty lucky that I was able to avoid those because Barry clearly is backing those wide, but the snipe that came out forced him to go wide too. IF keeps their top spots until Snow fails Ultra. So SE takes over in the majority of the top spots, and they use Shock there to hit all of IF on cuts as they break away in top 2. Snow does make the shortcut though with his golden, able to easily dodge. However, he's not going to be able to catch their top 2. And it is a huge race for SE, so they're making the comeback. SE gets their TF track pick, top 2, 4, 5. Fourth can draft first, fifth can draft second. Snow goes for the swerve strat from third to try to get a draft up on first, but he gets lag bumped. But SE is able to at least keep top 2. Sean pulls a mega, so he's able to avoid the bomb, and it's a really good start for SE. And they keep all their top spots the whole race. IF needs Shock to do anything, and they do pull it, dodging in Star and Bill. Snow spams the POW. Now, he could have maybe held on to this because Cormac, who dodged in the Bill, is only able to get up to third. Maybe if Snow T-POWs top 2 on the minimap at the shortcut section, if he gets one of them off, Cormac can get into second, but Cormac's only going to be able to get into third, and it's a top 2-4 for SE. Another lopsided GP, this time in SE's favor, so they're definitely brought it back now, and they get their track pick again with Wario's Goldmine. 8th place can go up onto the zipper, maybe pull Bill, but it looks like somebody pulled a Star in the back. Snow gets triple Shrooms 5, which is very nice that he's able to get a box there. Unfortunately, gets trailed. If he was able to survive that, he definitely would have been able to get into first. He's still able to get into second, put some pressure onto Sean, maybe get a draft off, doesn't get the draft. Sean swerving around, trying to wheelie bump him off the track. And the banana snipe doesn't connect. If there was a little bit less lag that looked accurate, I think he would have taken him out. But now Snow is in a 1v3 or something up here, and he lags through the fib. He has no item, and Sean did pull triple reds on left path in second as Snow passed him on right path. So he gets hit out until IF Shock comes out. That is an IF Shock, but Revan dodged. This is a TS, one of the SE people who was in the front. Edison gets redded, it looks like. Revise also comes up. Snow hits the minecart, so we don't really get a good view of what happens in the front. But another Shock is used. Shadow dodges. Barry and Sean both get TS'd off of the ramp, so it's hard to tell whose Shock it was. SE ends up getting top 2, bottom 2 off of it. I want to say that's an IF Shock, as they did dodge Shadow, and Dermo looked to be in 10 after using the first one. But it's an SE total victory for GP2, as they win it by about 50 points. They'd only lost GP1 by around 30, so they're up 20 going into this final GP. As CM is picked, Snow gets a lackluster start with no item and a laggy bump into the fib. Almost gets redded in 8th. That would have sucked. But Snow is still stuck in the back for a lot of this race. Edison pops up on him with a TC, and he passes it off quickly. Snow wisely uses his golden just to shroom into Edison and pass it off before the shot comes. Dodges Sean in a Bill. But a second Shock is pulled late. Mac had went forward, so Derma was in 10th and pulled. Shock dodges Snow in a Star, and it's top 2-4 for IF. They get their DK Mountain track pick, so this could go very well if they're able to keep their top spots. Snow misses the box, but he gets a draft, and it looks like Revise was able to muscle his way up into first, and Revan also shrooms up. So SE quickly breaks up the top spots, and a red comes out onto Cormac, so it looks really bad going into the cut, except Revan fails cut. Sean obviously is about to get redded, and Snow pulls a bomb on the bridge, sees Edison behind him, that's easy money, and a blue shell comes out, so everyone of SE gets hit out there at the end of lap 1. Cormac used a Bill at the end of lap 2, that's how he got into first. Snow just ran for the entire time, but SE does pull Shock, cannon dodging a lot of them. Snow only pulls a single Shroom at the set. I think something like triple reds would have been the best item there, as he's passed up by all of SE anyways, even though he's able to use a Shroom. SE's top 3 going into the cut section. Snow could very easily get hit off or lagged off, except it's Revan who's off, and Sean gets trailed. Revan fails the cut again. Edison wants to hit a backfib off. It doesn't connect. It honestly, that backfib could have hit. If he backed it in the middle, maybe Snow could have got blued on the line. But instead of a top 3, SE only gets 1-3, and they get bottom 2. Things are about tied going into race 11. RSL is picked. Snow gets bumped and hit past this TC. Very hard to react in time when you're past TCs on RSL. So he gets shoved off the track. IF reds out a lot of the SE members. And IF is 2-3-4. Revan is breaking away in first. Snow pulls the all-me bomb. Tries to bomb Sean. Sean pulls out the Uno reverse card Mega. Now he's chasing down Snow in a Mega. Snow, luckily, very good pull, pulls triple Shrooms. So IF keeps 2-3-4. but a nasty target pal lap 3 and Snow. That was Cormac coming up in the bill. SC has shock, but they were unable to use it because Cormac was in the bill. So they secure first place with Revan, but all of IF is behind him in 2, 3, 4. And things are again pretty even right now going into the last race. IF has a slight lead, and Barry has broken away on Stadium. He is in first. IF is a lot of the mid spots, honestly. So SC needs to either pull blue, or they need to be able to get like 2, 3, 4, 5 in order to win this. And Snow has been holding on to this star the entire race in anticipation of the shock. And Revise does pull the blue, so now Cormac and Snow are in the back here. Barry's about to get blued. It all comes down to who has shock, as IF is in 2 dodges. And it is an IF shock, so they're able to take it home. Top 3, and they win the war 10-2 over SE. And it's another extremely close SE match. Every single one of their matches has been close. And like I said at the beginning of this war, this might be an important match in deciding of who makes playoffs, because both these teams are definitely competing to make it. So this win for IF could put them over the edge of SE by the end of the season. Overall, this war, definitely we saw some sloppy plays on both ends. Just from the Snow POV on DDR, if he was able to just make his wall glitch lap 1, I think he just runs pretty comfortably in first and interrupts, I think it was Sean and Edison who were top 2, and maybe backspam them and get first there, but instead they ended up getting top 2. And of course, the DK Mountain at the end there on the shortcut, Revan just straight up fails it, or he gets lag bumped by his teammate in first. Either way, that should have been top 2 guaranteed for them, as Snow was not going to catch up unless he pulled like a bomb in third and chucked it up on the bridge. But then Revise was also up there in third before the shortcut. He takes like a wide turn before cut because somebody was up there with a TC like at the last second. But if he was just able to drive normally, they could have just gotten top 3. Like if he just took those turns faster, that should have been top 3 for them. Sean also looked like he shroomed after the cut and just shroomed into the trail. He probably gets second if he's able to just shroom around Snow on the bridge or something. So I don't know how they fumbled the bag that badly, but SE should have gotten top 3 of that race. They didn't get powed, they didn't get blued. They were top 3 before cut, and somehow IF ended up getting 2-3 that race. And honestly, that probably costed them the war, because they would have definitely built a nice sizable lead that race, and it would have been a lot more difficult for IF to come back when they're down like 30 going into the last couple races. And yes, I know I'm one to talk, because I did the same exact thing last week on my DK Mountain race, but it didn't end up costing us that much for my mistake. That blunder definitely messed up SC's chances of winning. I don't really know what else they could have done on Sherbet, because they did have shock. Actually, it's not confirmed that they had shock, but Cormac did have Bill, and they did use shock in the end. So assuming they had shock lap 3, maybe if they were able to use it earlier, they could have gotten a much better race, and that would have set them up better for the final race. But either way, it's a good win for IF. SE still not out of it. Like I said, they're still very early on in their season, so they can make a nice run for the playoffs still. And with that, we'll get into our final match. Heaven versus 2S. Finally got a 2S match with a POV. Pretty standard stuff on both sides. However, the big issue with this match is that Heaven is not using Roast to bag. They're using UIZ. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he's a good bagger, but he's definitely not at Roast level. You know, he knows how to bag, but if your name isn't Roast, there's definitely going to be a skill issue there. And we'll just jump into Asmac's POV right now. Starting out on Sherbet Land in first. Sometimes second place has a better line there and can outline you, but Asmac does keep first, gets a green shell, trails it, trying to hit Pam. He's right behind him, but looks like Pam is in front on his screen. He does get into the front. Asmac hits a nice little laggy snipe off. Dane shroomed up, so he's still just chilling in second. Bomb comes up. It's going to slow down both Dane and Asmac, but Dane actually managed to maneuver around it very well. So he keeps first place. Jan creeps up into second. So Heaven is 2-3 for a while. Dan hits a nice back green off on Asmac, and Pal combos him. piled off the track. Pix was forced into a star. So 2S is a lot of the top spots here. But Asmac pulls a star middle of lap 2, uses it at the first set, lap 3. If shock comes out, he's going to be in a good spot. But there is no shock, so even though he gets a nice triple shrooms pull, he's only able to get up into 3rd place. And he's really not even in range to snipe any of Pix or Dane, and he hits the niche back red. It's 2023, guys. Can't be hitting behind the wall reds anymore. They're too obvious. 2S gets their top 2, 6, 7, so pretty good starting race for them. And 2S gets their DDR track pick. Asmac's going to try to finagle his way from 3rd all the way up, but he doesn't get it. Gets bumped out of the way. Dane is going to be able to run this pretty freely for a while. Prin gets up there, but Fred also shrooms up and Pix is up there, so 2S is a lot of the top spots starting out here. So unless someone on Heaven is able to take Ultra, which it doesn't look like that happens, 2S is going to be able to keep a lot of the top spots. Now they're top 3 going into Wall Glitch lap 2. Back red comes out, makes Wall Glitch a little bit awkward, but Asmac is still able to take it cleanly. However, Prin is messed up. Dane, it looks like he got blued through the wall or something. We weren't able to see it. Hidduke builds up, so that is a clear indication that Heaven does not have shock yet. Asmac takes Mega through the Ultra. He's going to be able to save a lot of time here, but he's definitely not going to be able to catch up into Claw unless he can last second Mega dodge. He is very close to Claw, but he does get back-netted immediately. He would have been in range for a nice snipe or maybe even a side red. However, he keeps second, and it's 1-4-5-7 for 2S, so another winning race for them. Luckily for Heaven, they get their BC3 track pick, so no more easy running tracks. Asmac again is going to try to force his way up into 1st, but he doesn't get the lack advantage, so Claw is able to stay in 1st. Fred shrooms up, wheelie bumps Asmac, and then Prin just kind of says, hey, you can hang on to this, which sometimes is worth it, because if that person is spinning out your teammate and he's losing time, and it would be faster for you to pass it to them while you get closer up to the front, sometimes that can be worth it, but in this scenario, I don't think so. He could have very easily slowed down with his triple reds, tried to red somebody and then pass it. A little bit funny. Regardless, Heaven is most of the mid-pack spots. Looks like Asmac's going to be able to easily take Ultra here as he does. Golden's up, very cleanly, is just going to break away in 1st, and he just keeps 1st for the rest of the race. So Heaven gets top 2, but they do get bottom 2, so it's not great. Volcano is picked. Asmac keeps 1st for lap 1. Pam Claw is the first one to make Rock. Looks like Prin is right behind him, so Heaven is 2-3, but Claw does have a breakaway in 1st. Asmac just keeps his 2nd place going into Rock lap 2. This time it's Jan making cut and Dane right in front of him, so 2S is top 2, and then Asmac pulls a TC, which is very bad. All you really want in this scenario is a single shroom, so he gets sent to the back. Pulls a golden, so he's able to take a respawn cut. However, no shock comes out, so 2S is going to be able to hold on to their top 2, and they get top 2, 5, 8 out of it. So it's another winning race for 2S, and they win the GP. GP2 starts out on Cupid Cape. Asmac does not pull a green, however, Jan is able to shroom up into 1st anyway, and they keep top 2 going into the end of lap 1 until Pix just decides to build up, try to break it up. However, he gets redded immediately, so they're able to stay in top 2. Ground Star is dropped, however, it is behind the Zapper, so instead of getting the star, Asmac is shocked into the Zapper, and it looks like Fred picked up the Ground Star, or Claw, or both of them dodged in Megas or something, because 2S is able to dodge 2 of their members. Luckily for Heaven, a blue is pulled quickly after, and I don't know how Asmac is missing a box there, but it ends up costing him because 2S is able to just hold on to top 2, 4, 5 after that massive dodge that they got. Your worst nightmare, TF is picked by 2S as their top 2, 4, 5 spots. Asmac ended up pulling a star in 8th lap 1. He holds on to it for an entire lap, and really just 2S ended up keeping a lot of the top spots as they finish 1, 3, 4, 5. Next race, we get Peach Gardens. Asmac gets the box in 7th, no stop golden, which is absolutely busted. Luckily for him, the box was either left or somebody lagged on their screen and wasn't able to pick it up. But Jan also had shrooms in 2nd here. He either pulled Trip Shrooms 1st set, pulled a Susui. But either way, it's going to be a very easy top 2 for Heaven. And unfortunately, spots had to reset due to disconnection, but both teams agreed that this race would count just for GP2 anyways. 2S picks RBC, but Jan is the one who gets the dropped off from 3rd place. So Heaven's top 2, however, Asmac misses the item box, which would have been crucial for fending off Dane here, or maybe hitting Fred or somebody. He gets past the TC. He does pass it back to Fred, which is nice, but Jan is up there all alone, so he's going to be fending off Pix and Dane in the top 3 spots. Asmac pulls crazy good pull Mega here. However, he unfortunately just hits that banana on the Superman. He would have been able to save a lot more time if he was able to just take cut like normal. And now Pix shroomed up into first. Asmac is putting pressure on Dane, but he would have had a lot more pressure if he caught up in the Mega, but he drafts up very quickly and is able to snipe Dane. Bam! Headshot. Predicts his line or his lag or whatever and gets him cleanly. Pix still in first. That banana almost connected Jan through it a little bit too far. It would have definitely been able to hit him. Dane had shroomed up later in lap 2, but he just immediately read it out. And then Pix hits the wall in first. So Asmac is able to take over and he pulls Trip Bananas. He's able to break away, but shot comes out for 2S. Fred dodges and Bill, but he's in the wall. A POW came out, but it doesn't do anything because everyone got shocked. And actually, it's a little bit hard to tell whose shock it was because Hadouke also dodges in a star. However, I doubt that Heaven would have used that shock knowing that they were in first. Asmac pulls triple reds, crazy good pull. It's a very easy to hit out Fred here, and now Heaven's going to take over in the top 2. They can maybe double back spam. Hadouke's trailing a fib. Looks like Claw was able to shroom up at cut, and Asmac had no item, so he just gets redded out. And it is another 2S shock, which dodges Fred on the line, so they get an extremely good race. Ruiz, the bagger, had disconnected again, so that's why 2S was able to use so many shocks. Prin had to go back, but obviously he's not as good as a bagger. So spots have to reset again after those 2 GPs, which are going to count as the 2 GPs, even though spots have to technically like reset and blah, blah, blah. 2S is up by around 50. Now, Heaven picks Yoshi Falls, which is a very unconventional pick. Asmac is trailing a fib right behind Pix, or right in front of Pix, which can be risky, because if a red comes out, he's just going to get fib redded, but he has another fib anyway, so he can't really do anything about it. He does manage to just hit the fib off on somebody, puts a fib at the top, and then hits Pix. So his run is going very well, and he's able to keep first, and it's a top 3 for Heaven. So they are making a comeback now. They're only down around mid-30s. And they get their BC Wii track pick. Only Asmac is able to stay in first. However, Hadouke just makes glitch later, lap 1, so they are top 2. Looks like Prin was trying to make his way up there as well. Pow Red comes out onto Asmac going into lap 2. So Hadouke keeps first, but the rest of Heaven are more towards the back or mid-pack spots. Jan dodges a lap 3 shock. But unfortunately for Heaven, it was a 2S shock that ended up TSing Hadouke in first, so they get top 3. Now they're back to square 1, down around 50 with only 2 races left. They're going to need 2 massive races. Asmac drafts up into first here on Delfino. Fred is the first one out of double. Jan is right behind Asmac now, and he keeps second place going into shortcut lap 2. However, Claw this time is the first one out of double, and Pix is right behind him, so 2S is top 2-4. Target POW comes out. The red does not connect. However, Heaven does have shock, and it looks like they dodge in 2 megas. So Hadouke and Jan are going to get up there. Hadouke only chains greens, and he isn't able to hit Fred. However, they get top 2-4. But like I said, they needed 2 monster races, and unfortunately, top 2-4 is not enough to put them within range of a top 4 victory. So they have to all run here on Coconut Mall, and they do not get the coveted top 5. So it's GG's. 2S is the winner, and they end up getting all 12 GSC points. So, wow, pretty impressive win for 2S. As I've been saying in the season, I'm assuming Heaven is going to be one of the strongest teams. However, pretty obviously, they were not using their best lineup. They did not have roast bagging. They had Prin running over, I would say, Types or Deco would probably be their main 4th runner. And it was pretty obvious one crucial mistake was made. Ruizang dropped the star behind the zapper, and I mean that was also Asmac's fault as well. He should have been able to deduce that could be a possibility and slow down a little bit before he picked up the star. But I've done that before as a bagger when I don't bag either. When you don't jump into the zapper, you don't do the strat where you like wheelie and jump off that ramp, and the star like flings out to the side or goes forwards. If you just sit at the bottom and let the zapper kind of hit you when you're standing still, the star can drop in a bad spot. That's happened to me before. So maybe he didn't know that, or maybe he just didn't communicate it properly, or maybe it could have just been completely Asmac's fault and he said, hey, Sapper is going to be in front of the star, you got to watch out. And then Asmac just ended up hitting it anyways. But regardless, that was probably one of the most important moments of the whole war because 2S got top 2, 4, 5 on that Koopa Cape race. They got a free star dodge. I believe one of the other person dodged in a mega, and they ended up getting top 2, 4, 5, which catapulted them into a TF race, which was also another win for them. And they were only down, Heaven was only down 22 going into Koopa Cape. They'd only lost GP1 by 22 points. So they were definitely in position to make a good comeback with 8 races left. But that mistake ended up snowballing a lot, and it cost them a lot of points. Not really concerned for Heaven's chances at playoffs, though. I'm sure they'll be just fine. In 2S, this is a huge win for them because this gets them a lot of points that other teams are not getting. Not other teams are really beating Heaven here, so they get 12-0 on a team that, you know, when other people play them, they're only getting 2, maybe 4 points at most. So this is going to be huge to catapult them into the playoffs. It's really looking like they are definitely going to make it now. And even though Heaven wasn't using their best lineup this match, it's still a good Heaven lineup. And 2SN just stomped them. Like, they really were dominating them this whole entire match. Heaven was making a bit of a comeback at the end when they got that top 3. But then 2S bounced right back. So they really were in control of this entire match, and even though it wasn't as good as a lineup, it's still impressive that they're able to beat them down this badly. And that catapults them up to first position with 50 points, 4 wins, 2 losses. XI right behind them with 4 wins and 0 losses, so the only undefeated team still with 42 points. And then Daisy and KG at the bottom, they're out of it. And then the rest of us, SE, Heaven, IFSL, are going to be a lot closer competing for those playoff spots, assuming that Heaven does, get their act together again, use their main lineup. They can just continue to get wins. They were 3-0 before. I'm sure that they will have no problem making playoffs. So it's looking like an SEIFSL fight for the final playoff spot. Unless we can start getting wins on Heaven. If IF or us in SL gets wins off of Heaven, that's going to make things super even, but that's asking for a lot. I'd say the biggest moments this week have to be IF's win over SE, because as I've been saying, if those teams are going to be fighting for the last spot, then having those point advantage over SE is going to be huge for IF. And considering how close that war, it could have gone in either team's favor, so it's really good for them that they clutched that out. And then 2S beating Heaven, we already just talked about it, but that puts them in the driver's seat for the top seed for the playoffs, as compared to what I've been saying that Heaven is going to be there with XI. Now it's like 2X and XI are really the ones at the top now. So going into week 4, matches to look out for, any match involving SL, IF, and SE. Probably Heaven as well. If they start to lose, that's definitely going to be something to put on your radar, because then things could get really crazy for playoff spots. But also look out for any team playing XI. Maybe they can get the first win off of them, and that would mean free points for any team that can beat XI, if you're assuming that everyone else is going to lose, right? No one else is really getting points off of them, but if you can get a 10-2, that's going to put you in a nice little advantage. But that's all from me, guys. Stay tuned for week 4. And after next week, man, things are going to be looking a little bit more set in stone. The teams that are won and have the winning records there's not going to be enough time for the teams with losing records to catch up. So next week's going to be big. Stay tuned for then, guys. I'll see you later.